Musicals versus the Beatles, Who Really Reigned Supreme in the 1960s? By me, Katie Straker. The Beatles are the top artists of the 1960s by almost every metric, but in Billboard's year-end album charts, they're surprisingly denied the top position. To find out how this was the case, one needs to review the source chart data to see how successful an album was in its competitive context. Using Music ID to compare source chart data with annual artist ranking summaries led to a startling insight. An enormous force in 60s record sales has been lurking in the shadows: soundtrack albums. Take a quick look at the top artists of the 1960s in Music ID impact. You'll find the usual suspects: the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Elvis Presley. But when you review the source chart data, it's clear that a major part of the story is missing. Broadway cast recording and soundtrack albums are present in the top 3 Billboard records every year of the 1960s. In fact, while the Beatles had the 4 best-selling songs in the UK in 1965, soundtracks occupied 4 of the 5 best-selling albums in the US in the same year. Beatles 65 had an impressive 56-week run in the charts, but it was bested by Mary Poppins' 99 weeks. But both of these wildly successful albums pale in comparison to the record-smashing domination of The Sound of Music soundtrack. For a staggering 206 weeks, The Sound of Music held its place in the charts. To this day, it ranks as the second most successful album in the US of all time. With her chart-topping success of Camelot, which was number 1 in 1961, Mary Poppins, number 1 in 1965, and The Sound of Music, Julie Andrews is one of the most successful popular artists of all time. But neither she nor any other stars or composers of soundtrack recordings will appear on an Artist of the Year chart or ranking, because in the published charts, they appear under the veil of various artists. Luckily for researchers, Music ID's direct chart data bypasses arbitrary music industry conceits and provides a complete picture. Let's turn to singles. Album cuts were not included in the Billboard Top 100, the industry standard for singles, until 1999. Show tunes and original soundtrack songs were rarely released as singles in the US or the UK, unless they were written and performed by a major pop act, such as Simon & Garfunkel's Mrs. Robinson from The Graduate. Consequently, 6 annual number 1 albums, 3 number 2s, and 3 number 3 produced no hit singles. If you base assumptions purely on published charts and year-end reviews, you'll be missing major facts and trends within the music industry. While year-end charts and all-time rankings certainly have their uses, they also have significant disadvantages. Only by comparing charts with the source data do you see the full picture of what people were actually listening to. Luckily, with Music ID, researchers are able to access more than 500 million lines of data from nearly 5,500 charts in 74 countries to get to the heart of the matter and craft, develop, and prove new theories, fact and sense-check assumptions, investigate the realities of music's impact in a cross-disciplinary construct, and to uncover their own startling insights and breakthroughs like this one. The Beatles may have been the top artist of the 1960s, but the most popular music for many years was show tunes. Visit us today at musicidhub.com to request a demo and discover how Music ID will empower your research.